Awesome. All right. Thank you for joining us, everyone. We've got another exciting stream of mission briefing. We are going to be building a Gatsby source plugin for Orbit. So if you are not familiar with Orbit, I will hold the introduction for my guest who is joining me today, Nicolas Goutay. Thank you for coming on stream with me. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Kurt, for inviting me, and I'm really excited to be in this mission today.
Yeah.
So, I'm Nicolas Goutay, French. I'm working at Orbit. I'll introduce the what we do and who we are a little bit afterwards. You might have heard of me on maybe the Jamstack space. I'm organizing the Jamstack meetup here in Paris, and I'm also a big web performance buff, which was my entry point to Gatsby. In fact, 2 or 3 years ago. So yeah, really excited to be here and to build this Gatsby source plugin, and maybe I can talk a bit about Orbit and introduce what we do and who we are.
Yeah, I think that that's actually a fantastic idea. Why, Orbit is something that I'm super hyped about. We use it at Apollo. But yeah, I would love an introduction. I'd love for you to share what Orbit is and kind of what y'all do. And then we can kind of circle that into Gatsby and why it makes sense, why we're building this plugin for your API.
Mhm. Yeah. So Orbit is a community experience platform. So if you're here, you're on, I think, part of a dev community, the Apollo one or the GraphQL one or the Gatsby one, but there are lots more around open source projects, around products, etc.
Yeah.
And so what we're building here at Orbit is for the developer advocates and DevRel and community teams and even open source maintainers, a tool to see, understand, and help them grow the community around their product or open source project. And I think Apollo is a prime example of that, with everything that you do, the blog post, the live streams,
Yeah.
even the GraphQL conf. We really see a spike in community engagement and endeavors. And so we're building a tool that we'll use for building this Gatsby source plugin. And also we have this framework or mental model called the Orbit model that aims at providing DevRels and community teams with a way of understanding who their community members are, what's their engagement, what are the things that they do. Are they active on GitHub? How often do they post pull requests? Do they tweet about you or write blog posts, etc.? And so this model is open source, and you can go and see it through our website, orbit.love, or on github.com/orbit-love/orbit-model.
I've already dropped
And
the link
so, yeah,
in the chat for you. So fear not.
really excited to be here, and yeah, maybe Kurt, we can talk a bit about what we have in mind for this source plugin.
Yeah, yeah. So at Apollo, we use Orbit. It's a big part of our day-to-day workflow. It's an amazing tool that's really helping us kind of figure out who our audience is, like who's our community is, who we're engaging with, and then the next steps and where we're looking to go is like figuring out how people are engaging with us, and then make sure we're engaging back, and then two, reward people for this engagement, right? A lot of times people are doing a lot of awesome things in the community, and I see Orbit as an amazing tool that's going to help us empower them even further and acknowledge the cool things that they do. So we're very excited about the work that y'all are doing. And so yeah, the thing here is a lot of the Apollo properties are built on top of Gatsby. Big surprise. But Orbit being our community experience platform, we want to be able to pull some of this data in. We're looking at something like an Apollo Champions program, and when people decide that they would like to participate and be a part of that, we would love to be able to show them off. So I think like a big part of this, I'm sure we'll have a bunch of other use cases, but for us, for right now, we're thinking about what does it look like to get this information in from Orbit and be able to kind of show off who these people who are doing really cool things in the Apollo community. So that's kind of the framework of why we are here and why this stream is happening. And so it's very cool. I mean, technically it's still GraphQL related because Gatsby uses GraphQL. But this is community related and really important. And so I figured this would be a great opportunity for us to get on stream and be able to talk about this kind of stuff. So again, thank you so much for joining me, Nico. And without further ado, if it's cool with you, maybe we like talk about Gatsby plugins and GraphQL a little bit. Maybe you can kind of catch us up on what is the process of like kind of putting together something like a Gatsby source plugin.
Sure. Yeah. So the idea for maybe those of you who haven't already played around with Gatsby source plugin or the GraphQL interface of Gatsby, the one of the key selling point and like technological prowess of Gatsby is making that GraphQL layer the entry point for all your data. If you say build a blog with Gatsby and that your blog posts are markdown file on your server or locally, then you might have noticed that what you manipulate when you're building your React components and your design, etc., are not actually markdown file, but GraphQL nodes. And so this happens with blog post and markdown files, but it can be applied to virtually any external source that we can think of. So maybe if we take the blog example a step further, you might want to use a CMS, a content management service, to facilitate the editing and the content creation part of the blog. And this CMS, whether it be an open source one like Netlify CMS or Sanity or there's Strapi, there's a lot of them, you will interface with that CMS through GraphQL. And so now the question is, how do you get that data, that external data, into this GraphQL interface? And that's where Gatsby source plugin kicks in. So the general idea of a Gatsby source plugin is it's a connector type thing that will, when your website builds, whether locally or when you're deploying, it will make API requests, since we'll be talking about an API now, to that external service, that external data source, which will be Orbit in our use case, get that data back and transform it, massage it into something that is processable by GraphQL, and then by you and your React components and everything that you can build with Gatsby in the end. So I think the key parts that we'll do today, Kurt, will be making that external API call, and then transforming it in a way that Gatsby and GraphQL understand, and then we'll have it inside that really killer GraphQL interface that we can play around with it and that serves as documentation, etc.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. I love it. This is a great idea. I'm so glad that we are able to, come on stream and do this for folks at home. Building source plugins, custom source plugins, is a really useful tool to have under your belt. New stream layout. Yeah, thanks for noticing, Kyle. I was like, you know what? It's just the two of us. Let's just, there's a lot of space we can be using up here. Yeah, so slightly new layout. But this is awesome. So I guess without further ado, like let's do this. Okay. So I guess the first thing is let me switch over to desktop and video. Boom. So what we've done so far is like, you know how we roll. I love to make sure that y'all get to see what it's like from start to finish. Oh, and real quick, what I'm seeing these rolling in. So Cold Deep Keshwar, DZLO1, and Monk Kick Kick Kick. Maybe I got that right. Thanks for the follows, y'all. It's much appreciated. So what we have is a project that really has nothing in it. I've just done like yarn.init on a file, so we're in a folder with just a package JSON and these 7 lines of data. So we haven't really done anything except for init an empty project. So what is the best way to get started on this plugin?
So what I suggest is that first we can have a look at the Gatsby doc. I know
Yeah.
they built an amazing tutorial and a lot of resources around building source plugins. Because one thing with source plugins that you have to adhere to a certain uh, naming pattern for the files so that Gatsby knows that what you built is actually supposed to be executed at build time to fetch the data and plugs into the GraphQL interface, etc.
Okay.
So uh, I think that'll be the first. They have maybe in the search.
Yeah, that's probably the best place to go. Let's see. Source. Creating a source plugin. I'm gonna say that's what we're
Mhm.
looking for. All right, let's
Yeah.
blow this up for the folks at home. Um, there we go. Nice and big. Okay. All right. So we've got creating a source plugin here. Let's look at this table of contents. So we're gonna implementing
Mhm.
features. Yes, we're just gonna let's do this.
Yeah.
Where should we start? Maybe here at the overview.
Yeah, if we can walk through the overview because it's a bit more detailed than what we saw earlier.
Yeah.
So the first bullet point ensures local data is synced with its source and is 100% accurate. That's the API fetch part that I talked about earlier. If you're deploying a new version of your site, you probably want your blog posts or your Orbit members to be up to date. And so this is where we'll do the API call to fetch new data. Gatsby plugins, since fairly recently, I think maybe a little bit less than a year, has a quite complex cache handling for like more heavy use cases. I don't think we'll cover them today,
Yeah.
but maybe it will be a good enhancement for the plugin down the line.
Yeah.
If we go to the second bullet point and the third, etc., nodes are mentioned quite heavily, and it is a concept that will manipulate quite a bit. And nodes are GraphQL nodes in that context. So a GraphQL node is like an item of the thing you're working with. So if you're writing a blog post might be your node. For us, it will be members. If you, I built a source plugin for Meetup
Yeah.
a while back, and a node in that case was a Meetup. A node will have attributes. So for the Meetup example, it would be the date the Meetup will be occurring at, or the name of the event or the venue, etc. And yeah, with those nodes and those attributes, we'll be able to build whatever we fancy on the front end side.
Awesome. I love it. That's cool. Yeah. So, yeah, thanks for like kind of walking us through that overview. Dom, thanks for the tier 1 sub. Thanks for the follow. Patrick,
Mhm.
awesome. Thanks for joining us. Cool. And I'm noticing, hey, Peggy, I see you there in the chat as well. Thanks for coming to hang out with us, y'all.
Hi, Peggy.
Yeah.
Hi, Patrick and Josh.
Okay. So implementing features. So I guess like you've already kind of talked about how like we need a source, like a particular structure. So I think that'll probably be like covered as well. So I guess maybe we can
Yeah,
talk about like sourcing nodes. That seems like the next logical kind of step. What do you think?
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
totally. So this, uh
yeah. Okay, so
Hi, Josh.
yeah, exactly. Sorry. Hey, Josh. um, yeah, so it looks like here we're gonna need like a Gatsby Node.js file at the root of our project. Is
Mhm.
that correct?
That is correct,
All
yes.
right.
This example, I like it a lot because it highlights for a simplified use cases all of the bricks that we'll build together today to achieve
Ah,
uh, our Gatsby plugin. So there's the fetching part that is mocked here, and there's the linking to GraphQL. So
right.
if at one point we're a bit lost about what we can do next, we can refer back to that, and we can see where we're going after.
Cool. But it looks
So
like this kind of gets us most of the way through. And I'm seeing we create a node, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that means like a node like in our GraphQL, like this will show up as like a particular item within GraphQL that we can now reference. Is that correct?
that is correct.
Yeah.
Yes, that is
Okay.
correct.
So the only thing we have to do is take this data right here and make
Mm-hmm.
this come from orbit, make it be the members. That's like the gist. And then we gotta make some changes here, of course. But I think
Yeah.
this arms us enough to get started. Throwing some of this stuff
Yeah.
in. All right.
Totally.
Yeah, let's do it.
Totally.
So I'm gonna flip over here to VS Code. I'm gonna create that new file. So Gatsby node.js, and then I'm gonna do the normal thing and copy all of this right out of the docs, right? Because copy and pasting is what we do. And boom, I'm gonna paste it in. Okay, so I'll just save that up real quick. All right, so yeah,
So
let's see. So now that we've got our example, what's our next steps here?
so I'd say since we this is a working example, if we manage to get it up and running, which I think will be our next step, we
Okay.
should be able to see the GraphQL interface and be able to navigate that single node, the key 1, 2, 3, foo, bar, baz, etc., inside that interface.
Okay.
Once we get to that point, then I think we can lean a bit more into the orbit specificity of the integration.
Okay. So what is the easiest way for us to kind of test this? Is that create like a separate project that references this, like, or maybe they talk about it in the docs, like local development?
So possibly when I built the source meter plugin, I had to create a Gatsby plugin from scratch and reference that through I can't remember which mechanism, but we can have a look in the docs to see if
Yeah,
they
probably npm link.
changed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they also open sourced a repository that if it's not like right away, that will make it easier for us to get to that point.
Got it.
So do we have something here?
So they're kind of just showing, talking about what we were talking about, like how you can use like,
Yeah.
asynchronous things. You need to make sure await data coming from, yeah, return a
Yeah, this
promise. Yeah.
will have to we'll have to make use of async.
Mm-hmm.
Caching data is a bit out of scope, I think,
Yeah,
for
I
today.
agree. I'm really just
Uh,
looking for running this. Let me check the. I wish I could like scroll the table of contents. It's because I'm blown up.
yeah.
Let me zoom out. Uh, yeah, I don't see anything on like local testing. That's interesting.
Yeah, maybe it's in another page. I'm pretty sure I saw it.
Yeah, I'm sure it exists
Let me
somewhere.
check. Okay, so there is another page
Okay.
called creating a source plugin. Maybe it's under tutorial and you're under doc, so maybe that's why.
Okay.
And
Okay.
there is a setting up projects for plugin development and an example site with a starter, etc. So maybe I can send you the
Yeah.
link. Otherwise, it's the page is called. Oh yeah, I'll send you the link over. Up. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So what we're going to do is create an example Gatsby website using the Gatsby new command, which is a handy generator for Gatsby.
Okay.
With a template. So yeah, you're on the page.
Okay. So let me make this a little
So
bigger for folks at home real quick.
uh-huh.
Okay, so we want to take this, essentially this here, we're going to just create a new Gatsby project. I'll open up a new
Yeah.
VS Code. That'll be interesting. But it should be fine. I just won't be sharing that one with you, but you'll be able to see it. So that's cool.
And once the website is up and running, we won't have to dig into that code, the code of the website. So it's a matter of just setting it up.
Okay, all right, that makes
And
sense.
so this uses the Gatsby CLI command, which is I don't know if you have it installed already,
I'll
Kurt,
run
but
npx. I'll just put
or
an npx in
yeah,
front of it.
cool. I like that.
It reminds me, I gotta hydrate too. Oh, it's npm installing. Yeah, missed opportunity. Or like while project's building. Oh, Yarn. We want to use Yarn. But while that installs, enjoy your tunes. Oh wait, are y'all not hearing that? Oh no, do I not have Stream Deck on here? Oh man, I don't think anyone got to hear that. I need to fix that. That's bad.
Oh no. We got some very good elevator music in there
Yeah,
to make for it in npm installing.
trying to see. I don't think I added it. Oops. Let me do that. I can do this real quick while we do that. It's a race. Existing Stream Deck. Okay. Transition over to ourselves. Oh, and try that again. There we go. That's better.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that, folks. Nice. And look at that. Cool. All right. So it's done. So we've got that. Uh, boom. Let's cd into, what do we call that? Gatsby's source orbit example. And we're going to code it. So we don't need this anymore. And let's resize this.
We might want to try and run yarn start or Gatsby develop. I can't remember the exact name of the command though, so that the server is up and running.
Yeah, for this project, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So we want to do yarn start. That's going to start it. Um,
And usually we'll see if that's the case here, but when you run yarn start on Gatsby project, so running the development server, you get back two
hmm,
URLs. The first one is the actual site that you can go and see your design, and there's hot reloading so that
right.
you can code and see the impact at the same time. And there's also the graphical interface, which will be most of the focus for building the source plugin. Okay, so I think the build was a success.
Boom. It looks like it. And we've got localhost. So like he was mentioning. So if I open this, or maybe not. There we go. I don't know why it wanted to open a new window. But anyway, you see hello world. Boopity boo. And then what we're really concerned about here is I'm going to copy it because I want to bring it to that other Chrome window.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
So boom. What we've got here is graphical. And so this is where we can explore the data that is here. We're not going to have workouts. That's from something else. I love that it just like leaves the last thing you had there. But if we get rid of
Yeah.
this, what we can see over here on the left is we have this explorer and we can just like kind of start to dig down through this. So what's interesting is I wonder if we can get this to work with Apollo's uh, dev. What is the URL for that? Is that it? Ah, but I'm already here. Boom. All right, so this is going to be our Gatsby source orbit, and that is at 8. So y'all are getting a sneak. Local dev is coming to Apollo Studio, and so what that means is add dev graph. Watch this. So there's basically like graphical, but like woof, blown up. Yeah, but we now have access to this one working from localhost. So boom, so now I can come down here.
Awesome.
Yeah, much like we were doing with graphical, we can come over here and explore our queries, and dig down through, and it will add, anything that we want for us and kind of create that query. It's pretty neat, pretty rad. But yeah, I've been using
Indeed.
this, and so it will pre-fill like variables for you and stuff like that. And on top of it, it supports subscriptions, so you can run a subscription operation in here and run it, and then it will show your subscription data if you like make mutations and stuff. Thinking about all y'all API developers out there, you can finally work with subscriptions without having to build an entire client and like configure that and set it up to test it. So you can test them right from here. So yeah, this is, I figured we could test out using this. So this is open.
Yeah,
folks are allowed to, go start using this if you want to try it out. But yeah, I want to see how it goes using it for a Gatsby site. This will be my first time trying it with Gatsby. So cool. All right. So we've
I'll definitely pay for
and
my Gatsby endeavors.
Yeah, exactly. And I like the color scheme a lot better. So as you can tell, it's the same color scheme now that I use in VS Code. Joel Glover, designer here, made the theme for Explorer a VS Code theme. So I was like, oh yes, I must have it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going. We can see that we have our graph. So now the thing is we want to try to link this together, right? And maybe we go back to the docs for that, or
Yes, totally. So we'll go back to the docs. What we'll the next step here is to install our new plugin, the local version. So it won't be npm install because it's not published on npm yet. But I
Right.
guess it will be npm link or something in that direction.
Okay.
So that the example website and the Apollo Studio GraphQL Explorer will now show the output of our graph plugin.
Okay.
So I think it's that
Oh,
section.
you can just require.resolve the root of the plugin.
That is new. That is so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that is new. And okay, so that makes life a lot easier. So let's just grab this because I don't know what plugins they have in the example site. So in case there's none. But it seems like you can include the plugin by including its name if you are using Link or Workspaces, or place it in example sites. Oh, plugins.
Oh, this might be even easier so that we can have only one instance of VS Code running.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. So then what I'm going to do... Okay, so then watch this. So let's do this. Let's create our plugins folder here. I'll end that live share, and then I'll add you to this example project, and we'll work from there.
Cool.
That seems to make the most sense. Okay, so boop, new folder, plugins, and then I guess we need a new folder for our plugin, right?
Yeah, with the name of the plugin.
Gatsby source orbit. And then I guess I could copy those files right on over. Oops. Well, let's do... Hey, hold up. Boop. Will it be this easy? Yeah, yes.
Yes. The VS Code is the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, it certainly does. Okay, cool. So, gosh, VS Code. All right, so I'm gonna close this one out, which should end that live share session, and let's start up a new one. Let's start a new one. I guess. Oh, missed opportunity for elevator music again. Let's see. Here we go. Where's our chat? Chat. Cool. There we go. All right. So yeah. So now you should be able to join that, and we'll be ready to rock and roll. Whew. Okay. Wow, that was really fast. Heck yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. There it goes. You joined. All right. Awesome. So this is really cool. It's already sharing a server with you. Let me share the terminal with you too, though. Um, and then actually I'm going to make another one in case we need it, right? Like, you never know. Let's be prepared. Be prepared. And then, okay, so we're ready to rock and roll, I feel like. Oh, wait. So, yeah, let's add this to our config, and then we're really ready to rock and roll. Oh, oops. Don't join that. Let's go back to the docs. This is what I want. It's weird that it wants it to go up a directory, but like, yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna check. It's weird. I agree. We'll read through the docs again. I'm just gonna right now just leave it like that, just because it's like verbatim what they have. But it says Gatsby only knows, yeah, that are included in the config file. Yep. And add your plugin using require.resolve. Well, let's just open this because this is like a link. Including a plugins folder is not the only way to reference a local plugin. Alternatively, you can use a plugin file by directly referencing its path, but from where? Yeah. Oh, or place your source plugin in plugins instead of being a folder. That is way easier. That's actually what we already did. Technically, I already put it in plugins. So then we should just be able to get rid of all of this and just say the name. But we have to name it in the plugin, I would imagine. There's probably some other stuff we're going to have to do here. Um, yeah. Yeah, let's try it. So let's go here and let's rerun it. Source. Yeah. And it sources its data, right? Yeah. Yeah, I don't see specifically that plugin ran. Maybe we have to run it in a. Oh, go ahead. Oh, interesting. So let's go look at the node type that we created and see if that is available. So it's going to be called my node type. So if there's a my node type in our API, then we're good to go. So we could come over here. Oh, let's see. Oh yeah, well yeah, I would need to reconnect. Let's see. Should be able to connect now. I need to get it to refresh though. Maybe if I reload this page. Yeah, there we go. Because we shut down the whole server and started it back up. All right. Boom. Okay, so we want to see, and then it's called my node type. I think it's Command K. There's also like this iOS type search, which I love. Yeah, no, I don't see a my node type. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, we could also add like a console log in here just to be sure, just to say like, why don't we do that? Why don't we right here? Uh, yeah, this is console log driven development or CLOP or Claude, Claude. Yeah, um, we made it. Okay, so if we get this, then we know we're good. So we would want to rerun our build to try and see if this comes out, right? Oh, hang on. Some folks said you might be frozen. Apollo GraphQL. That is not normal. Hang on. They're saying, wow, they're saying you froze, which you did. Yeah. Hang on, I can adjust this. So let's see here. All right, give me 1 second, folks. Okay,
Oh,
and yeah, and Nico's back. I'm very sorry. Thanks for bringing that to our attention.
yeah.
You've at least been able to hear half the conversation, so let us know if there was anything in particular that you missed. But essentially, where we're at is that we're trying to figure out why we're not getting our plugin to run. We added a console log, which you could see and you could hear me talking about, and I think we're going to try that, and that's where we left off, right?
Yeah,
Cool.
that sounds good.
Yeah. Thank y'all for bringing that to my attention. That's the first time I've just had someone freeze on the call, and it's weird because our call was like fine. It just wasn't
Yeah.
coming through the stream. That was really interesting. Ugh, technology. I swear, audio, video, one day will be a solved problem. It just won't be uh, anytime soon, apparently. All right. So let's see. So we're going to shut this down one more time. We're going to run it, and we're going to look for our console log. We're going to see what we get. And what we're hoping that we get, what is going on? Node binary. I need to update node, I guess.
Uh-oh.
Well, I use
I, I
NVM, so I'm not sure. You know.
I can't see what you're sharing
Oh,
in the Skype
yes,
call.
that's a.
If you can
Yep.
have it set up again.
Yes, I can.
Cheers.
Absolutely. There we go. Should be good to go now. Cool. All right. Oh,
Yeah,
all right. So,
awesome.
okay. So it built and we made it. So it's here. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
I did something wrong in my querying. Let's go look a bit closer at what we have available to us inside of GraphQL. Because
Yeah.
we did make it. So here we have query all file. There would be an all my node type though, which is um, oh right, because we restarted this again. So let me try this. Let's reload. Uh, yeah, so I don't see an all my node type, which is very interesting. So let me just like start
Yeah.
typing out a query here. Oops, all. Yeah, all directory, all
No, it doesn't
file.
seem to.
Yeah. So one thing,
Having a look at the docs,
uh-huh.
it looked like we should have seen something right before we made it. So if we look at, oh, where's my browser? Um, the docs page you were on, and scroll just below the require.resolve thing that we did.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think we
Ah,
should have seen loaded Gatsby source orbit. So there's something in what we did that for some reason Gatsby didn't pick up.
I mean, is this still, so then my next question though is like, is this still relevant though? Oh, look. Uh, oh, that's because in on pre-init they're console logging. So that this is
Mm,
run from their
okay.
source starter. They have a Gatsby source plugin starter. So I
Mhm.
think if we added this on pre-init, then we could probably see that same
Okay.
console log.
So that makes sense.
Yeah, but this part is what's interesting to me. We don't seem to be creating this node.
Let me have a look. Maybe the
Maybe there's yeah like an issue with this dummy
so
data.
we call the create node method on line 28, and I'm not sure that's enough. Hmm.
Well, we don't return. Oh, well, that's from a map though. So it's creating node. Async.
Maybe if we copy and paste that example instead of
Ours?
the one we
Yeah,
had,
I like it.
since we're in that doc entry, it might be
Yeah,
more
that's a
relevant.
good call. Goodbye. Hello. All right, so I saved that, and I guess we would rerun this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we might want to add that on pre-init
let's
logging
do
thing
that.
so that we have it handy
Yeah,
just in
yeah,
case.
why not? The more logs, the better, I always say. All right. I mean, I really actually do say that. Like, sometimes you'd be amazed at how useful it is. You think you're adding too many logs, and then just make sure your levels are right. Um, let's see. Okay, so we've got that. Oh yeah, yeah. So we want to rerun this thing. Let's do it.
Yeah,
Vroom, 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 vroom.
yeah. Building a source plugin is heavy on killing and restoring the development
I'm seeing
server.
that. But also, this is like a lot of us like, oh, I feel like once it's probably up and running, it's a bit, you wouldn't be doing as much shutting it down and starting it up.
No, yeah, that's true. So we had our loaded Gatsby started plugin log. I
Cool.
saw it happening,
Nice.
and hopefully we'll have the GraphQL queries available.
Yeah, yeah. And again, let me just go look. Oops, wrong file, and see what are these called here? Post node type. Post. Cool. So we should have like an all posts type thing going on.
Hmm.
So let's jump back to the browser. Let's go here, and then I want to do one thing just to be sure. which is
Oh, yeah.
that. It is, in fact. So we've got an all post here. So it does exist.
Ah, yeah. That is working better indeed.
Yeah. Is it here? Yeah, see? What's up with that? Interesting.
You have a status warning sign on the top left, top right
That's
side of the.
unable to connect to server. That's a good point. Oh. Well, no. Yeah, this should work. This is the endpoint. But I wonder if it's because with Gatsby. Yeah, I don't know. This feels like it should work.
Yeah.
We are connected.
It's connected. So, yeah.
So I just paused it.
We have a suggestion in the oh.
Oh, interesting. What did it say? HTTPS, and I'm a dummy, because that is a huge difference. Although doesn't Gatsby? Yeah. Oops, where did I set this? Oh no, it
Josh
should
said
be.
in the comments
Oh, go ahead.
that I'm frozen. I don't know if that's still the
No, that was
case or
before.
if
That's why.
from
Yeah,
before.
that's why we did the
Okay.
whole reset thing. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, I don't think Gatsby exposes HTTPS, right? No, it's just HTTP.
No,
Yeah, I wonder if it's just because I should be able to query it. That's interesting. All right, we're gonna have to stick with graphical for right now. I'll have to figure out what's going on there. It's probably just something that I don't understand correctly about how this works locally. But all right, so we'll do this for right now. All right, so all post. Okay, so it works. I'm very curious. I just have to know. I want to see if it was working the whole time, because we did like a whole thing, and we might not have had to do a lot of work that we just did. So I gotta know. So we put this back.
I think you'll have to
Oh,
restart
I will
the
have to
server.
restart it. And then at that point, is it worth it? No. It's no longer worth it. All right. Get commit message. What happened to Command Shift Z? Shouldn't that like how do you like redo?
Command Shift Z. I think that's what it.
Yeah, right? That's what I'm hitting, but for me it's bringing up this get commit message. Like, nah, I'm not trying to commit. Wow, it's broken for me?
Yeah. I can't undo either, but maybe I don't have the undo
Yeah.
history on my
Well, it doesn't matter.
on my end.
It's in the docs. We don't need to mess with it anymore.
Yeah.
I'm over it. Over you. All right, so where's
And
our...
I have this like VS Code Vim plugin. Maybe it's messing everything up. I can try and disable it.
No. I wouldn't think it was from anything on your side. I have to have some extension that is breaking that functionality. All right, so cool. So we're back to all of our posts. We don't need this get nodes by type. I'm going to remove that because we're not like looking up other nodes that already exist.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got our source nodes. Let's change this to member. Member type, and we'll say orbit member. Would that be what we want?
Yeah.
Right?
It will print all orbit members, so that makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
So what we're going to be working on at this first step is to, on that line 11, the data that is today just a constant with hard-written, hard-coded posts, to do an API call there to all, so that we can get the data that we need.
Yeah, so we'll say.
So for that.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't know if you have a preference, but I tend to use Node Fetch, or if you Axios is good as well.
Node Fetch is
we'll
fine.
Have to install it.
Yeah, let's do Node Fetch. So that's just we have to install Node Fetch too, though, right?
I think, yeah. So we can go with Axios. I think in any case you have to install something.
Okay, yeah, I'll install Node Fetch. Probably Isomorphic Fetch, I think, is the one I always use. Are you okay with that one? Hey, thanks for the follow, Oscar. Okay. All right. So yes.
With the API call will make is pretty standard. We'll hit an endpoint with an API key in the header or even in the URL so that we can build this faster.
Yeah.
And there's no like I don't know dip uh, manipulations of the headers or whatever. So pretty much any solution is good
Okay.
here.
All right. So isomorphic fetch. Boom. So getting that there. All right. So we're gonna await fetch. We'll include that once it's done installing. We'll figure out what the URL is there. That's just gonna
Hmm.
be a get
Yeah.
request. So honestly, that's not going to be too bad. And then it would be like const data is gonna equal
Hmm.
response.json. But we need an
Yeah.
await in front of that.
We need to wait as well.
Yeah. So then we'll have our data. So that's going to replace this.
Hmm.
And then we'll figure it out. I can't remember how it comes back, if it's items or what, but I'll just
Well,
say like items for now.
yeah, and we can check on the API afterwards.
Yeah.
For the URL and maybe the like the structure of the response, uh, we can open the Orbit page, the Orbit workspace that we
Okay.
created right before this call. So and it was on the live stream an opportunity to see what Orbit how Orbit
Yeah.
looks like.
Yeah.
So this is the main interface of Orbit. For the purpose of this live stream, we created a demo workspace populated with fake data. So all of the names or activities or emails and pictures that you'll see here are not representative of actual real community members of a community. But for the, like, as an example, Apollo has the same interface with Apollo community members.
Yep.
So this page is the highlights of the week. If you have somebody contributing a lot, sorry, or somebody with a high reach. So reach is a concept in the Orbit model that translates roughly to the audience of somebody. If somebody has a lot of followers on GitHub or on Twitter or on Twitch or whatever, their reach would be bigger. And so if somebody with, say, 20,000 followers tweeted about Apollo this week, we would see it here. The page that we will be most interested about today is the members, yes, tab, totally. So this is the overview of your community. In Orbit, we have this concept, and in the Orbit model, this is not just the Orbit app, called love. And love is a measure of the engagement of a community member through time. So a community member that would say, speak at a meetup, then about Apollo, then sign up for the GraphQL conf, and then sign up for or build something cool with the Apollo Studio would have a high love. Somebody who was really active maybe 2 years ago, but who drifted away from the, say, I don't know, Jamstack community would have a love that is decaying. And we also have other info available, like tags. I think, Kurt, you're using tags
Oh yes.
to try and discover possibly like speakers for meetups and conferences.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or yeah,
We
it's very versatile
very
as
versatile. We use it tagging for a lot of different things. But yeah, it's a great system for to help us. I guess would be like segments the community in a lot of
yeah.
different ways, which is extremely useful from like a tumbling standpoint. And what I mean by that is it's really awesome to be able to see community members with similar interests, because oftentimes then you can connect those community members and stuff, and it's just a good way to know. So like maybe you want to like acknowledge everyone who attended a particular event or did a particular activity type, whatever that might be. And this gives you a really clean way of being able to do that. But yep, yeah, we use it for a lot of stuff.
And another important concept in the Orbit model and Orbit in general is the concept of activities, which are the things that the members do in your community. So here, this is also the example activities. So a community member can attend a meetup, can open an issue on an open source repo, can even contribute with a PR on docs, on features, do triaging with the tags, engage on Twitter. There's like many things that members can do. And so the activities in Orbit are a way to record that and have that handily available for the community member or the DevRel. And so if you go back to the members table, we can also see for a particular member the history of the activities that they did in our community. So if you click any of those folks, we're able to see that that's all imaginary, but they mentioned the account, they merged a PR, they watched a live coding stream, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So this is data that will maybe if we manage to do it today, but otherwise when we work on that source plugin, to have the data available for the members, like who are the members of my communities, and also for the activities. What did they do? What is worth putting a spotlight on, etc., etc. Mm-hmm. So if you go back to the members table, now we're going to talk about API a bit.
Yeah.
And we're going to use my favorite feature of Ruby on Rails, which is appending .json to the URL. You can do that on like Discourse and GitHub, and this was a killer feature for me when I discovered it. Okay, so we have here our API endpoint /members.json, and also the representation of the result here, which will be used by our Gatsby source meetup and be made readily available for like our Gatsby website.
Yeah, so when we talk about fetch, this is the URL, and we'll have to deal with the API key, like how we get access to there. But in the short term, this is essentially how we or as a start, this is what we can do, and then we can add some headers and kind of take care of anything else, right?
Yeah. So the headers, since we put the .json suffix to the request, I'm not sure we need to specify the headers.
We could just
if we hadn't, so if we hit on /members period, we would have needed to put content type and accept headers, both set to JSON, so that the server knows that it's treating a JSON API call and not like a regular browser request.
Right.
I'm not sure that it's useful now. We can try it without it and just adjust afterwards.
Yeah, I think you're right. We won't need it now that we're specifying that, but we will need some sort of API key, and I can't remember what the...
So I created, so this is API keys is obviously something, obviously something that is private. So I created a bogus API key for a bogus member that I will share with you, Kurt, and there's no like need for it to be hidden.
Oh, okay, cool. Even easier. Yeah.
Yeah. When we get the source plugin ready for production, though, this won't...
It would be an option, right?
Obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be an environment variable that you define right alongside you calling the plugin in Gatsby config.
Okay. All right, cool. So I've got this. So remember, folks, don't expose your API keys. This is strictly for this. I can't remember the query parameter, but I think that's it, right? It's just API key with like a capital K. I can't recall off the top of my head.
We'll try. I can't remember it either, but we'll...
All right. And then we saw that our data comes back as an array. So I'm going to go ahead and just do data.forEach because that's going to give us that. This is going to become a member. And
Yeah.
it honestly looks like if I go, let's go look and see what data it is. Do as I say, not as I do. Exactly. As he pastes the access
Oh,
key into the file.
Kurt,
Yes.
I lost
Live
the
share?
flag that says that the thing was recording.
Well,
I don't
let,
know if
let me
it's
check.
an issue
Because
or.
I think that's just like an alert. You seem to be good in the stream, folks. Let me know if it's not true. I think that alert goes away after a while. It's just to like let you know that you could potentially be being recorded because I
Okay.
have that server running. But you look good.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
looking
Okay. Cool.
smooth. I dig that background,
Amazing.
by the way. It's really cool.
Thank you. It's Patrick made it. Patrick,
Nice.
the our CEO.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. Very cool. Okay, so let's see. We've got. Oh, right. So it's going to be a data for each, but we want to look at our data structure because, well, we definitely want things like the attributes. It seems we're going to want that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
So we can maybe pull in the name first, or like some attribute that everybody shares, so that
yeah,
we can
yeah.
see how many members we get, and that everything is going
Yeah,
well.
so we'll want their ID, right? Because we can use that for our identifier, right?
Yeah.
To make them
Sure.
unique. So we'll pull the ID. Yeah, and then we just kind of really want like some of these attributes. So we'll do name, like you said. Yeah, that's a good start. ID and name. Let's just
Mm-hmm.
start small.
Mm-hmm.
So ID, and then this is going to become.
I double checked the API keys is snake case. No, like the with the
Got it.
underscore between
Yeah.
the yeah.
Oh, yeah. So like API with a lowercase k, right? Okay, cool. All right, so now we've got member attributes. ID is going to be, this is, I think we said member node type. Member node type. This is member node type. This is member.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this is member. Okay. And I just spread the attributes because, like, now in theory, whatever data is there should just show up, right?
Yeah,
So this is it.
it should.
This should be
Yeah,
it. We should now have all of our
yeah.
members in Gatsby. Let's go find out if this is true. Let's restart this thing.
Don't we miss a create node call?
Right here.
Oh, no, it's
We're
up
at,
there. Okay, okay, it's up
yeah,
there.
yeah.
I
We're
didn't
not
see
even
it.
doing a map. It's just a for each, and we're
Yeah,
just should be
yeah.
in theory creating each and every member. I don't know what the limit is set for like members here. Pagination would be something else, or you'd want to set a limit or maybe a particular search term.
Yeah, totally. So, oh, we have an
Oh
error. We
yeah,
can circle back to Pagination right now.
yeah, which is what Kyle just pointed out in chat, and that data is a property under the response. So if we go
True.
look,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you so much, Kyle. Yeah, so we have to destructure it here off of our response, and then we can do data.for each. So we'll save that, and we'll try it again. Programming, am I right?
Yeah. Yes, you are.
I've been missing all of my soundboard opportunities today. I'm not on my game. I'm just like off. I could have done a good laughing one right there. Uh-oh. Let's see what we got.
The
Could
stack
not find
traces.
module fetch.
You might need to import it. I don't know if you did that already.
I did from the wrong place.
Okay.
I did import fetch from fetch. Or like require from fetch. All right. So third.
We have a question in the chat. Is the create node sync or async?
Ah,
I believe that it is async,
the
but that uh, it doesn't really matter here, since we're doing a kind of a fire type of request.
yes.
We're not waiting for the result of that create node
Yeah.
call in that specific context. sometimes I think sometimes you want to do that. Say if we wanted to import activities and link them to
To the
members,
parent, yep.
we wanted to be able to link to the parents, but yeah, I think that's the case.
Yeah. Chad Stewart, thank you for the follow. I want to make that follow notification a little bigger. It's a little small. Oh crap! Look, it built, y'all.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go check this out. Whoop. All orbit member. Look at this. Edges, node. Look at this. Avatar URL, email, ID, name. Fire it off.
Wait.
Oh, oops.
You have the
Yeah.
posts. Yeah.
Fire that off. Look at that. There we go.
There you go.
Very cool. And so that
is so cool.
That is very cool. And like, I mean, aside from like the figuring out, you know, like how to, like the starting point, getting the source plugin into a project, actual development of the source plugin was 5 minutes. You know?
Yeah. It's pretty impressive how little code you have to write.
Yeah.
For it to work. Some use case can be, I think, for like bigger plugins, maybe the one from like Contentful with a heavy cache optimization patterns or pagination, etc. They will be more difficult to write.
For sure.
But in my experience, so I built one 2 years ago, something for meetup.com, and also one for discogs.com. And Discogs, if you don't know it, it's a marketplace for like music buffs where you can buy CDs or cassettes or vinyls or etc.
Yeah.
And in my experience, getting everything up and running is pretty straightforward, barring the whole setup that can be a bit of a mess. But yeah, congrats to the Gatsby team, because the setup here, like having the plugins folder that you can just create your plugin into and it will resolve magically, that is much simpler than it used to be with all the npm link dance at the time. So yeah, the development experience is really good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like, you know, of course, a plugins system is, there's complexity there. But, you know, I feel like those starters definitely help. Like, if we had started from the starter, we'd have had that nice pre-init console log already. And yeah, it was good. It was pretty quick and painless. So my next question is, so we're at an hour and 11 minutes now. We're scheduled for like an hour and a half. And so I don't want to get like too deep into anything else, but like what would be the next steps, like next concerns for this plugin? What do you think like you'll want to do next?
Very good question. I guess to circle back to your one of the use cases you mentioned at the beginning with maybe Apollo champions.
Yeah.
In Apollo's orbit instance, champions members could be visible through tagging, maybe.
That's
so everybody
what we were
who's a
planning.
champion in the community gets applied a champion tag. And so one thing that we could see next for the plugin, I'm not sure we'll have time in like 15 minutes, but would be filtering. So there is filtering built inside the API of Orbit. We can maybe go back to the link and have a try, because yeah, that's another thing that I really like about Rails, is that what you see is what you get in terms of like API routes. So if you get back to the members table, and like the
actual view, not the JSON.
Without the JSON. So here tags, and let's say the tag that we want is champion. Perfect. So we select that tag in the UI. We can see in the URL bar. So maybe it's a bit small.
And tags. Well, here I can make it more legible for everyone.
Mm-hmm. So we have this new like query param that gets inserted, and so we can add back the .json right after members and keep that query params, and it will filter the query. So now, if I'm not mistaken, we should have like 5 members in this.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So how would we approach building that into the plugin? The thing is, it depends on the use case. So maybe the most straightforward use case, and it's the one we use for the Meetup source plugin, is at build time. So say that we always want to apply the same tag on each deploy for that Apollo champions use case.
Yeah.
We only ever want to get the champions back in our API
Yep.
call. One thing we could build into the plugin is like a config key, like included tags or something in the likes, and read that entry from the config, the Gatsby config of the website. So maybe if you go to VS Code without coding it, we can maybe walk through it, because I think it's a pretty standard way of building it.
Okay.
So root gatsby config.js, which would be the one for the website you're building, not the one for the source plugin. Here we only listed the name of the plugin, but we can also pass it an array of, not an array, a hash of config keys and values. This would be, this would be where we store the API key, for example. We would say like Orbit API key is env.api key or something, and then it's read from whatever Netlify, Vercel, whatever you're deploying onto. And you can have a list of tags also that you want to filter on. And so when we have that, those entries in the config of the plugin, we can read them in the Gatsby node. Remember the exact syntax, but it should be something like config dot. It will be somewhere in the docs. It's a fairly standard procedure, but that's where we would read the tags that we want to filter on, and then change the URL that we hit on.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes perfect sense, and that's awesome. Makes it more extensible. And then Kyle in chat was mentioning just like uh, yeah, like so in that case, Kyle, like if you wanted to like use a hook and filter with tags, in that way, like in your React component, or even use Gatsby's filtering in your query locally as opposed to filtering out your API response. Yeah, you could absolutely do that as well. I think just like the question becomes like if I think about the Apollo. We've been using Orbit like in our workflow pretty actively for about 2 months now coming up on. I mean, we've been using Orbit for a while, but to really get it to be, part of our workflow, like daily. And we're at like, I don't even know, a decent amount of members already, like, over 10,000. So it's just like, you can't pull back 10,000 members at one time, or probably don't want to. There's probably some things like another interesting thing would be the ability to filter on like orbit level or love or different things like that.
Yeah, there's a trade-off to be made depending on the use case, of course, but the more API calls or the more data you get back in, the longer your build time will be.
Yeah.
So say we implemented a pagination mechanism in our plugin, and we just paginate through all the members.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, there can be like tens of thousands of members in a community for big communities. Every deploys, you have to fetch and get those 10,000 members. Or maybe that's when we like fiddle in with strategy of Orbit and only fetch the delta. But this has serious impact of the Gatsby node plugin and the complexity of the source, because we would need to be able to say, oh, last time you checked was 2 days ago. Here is all the updates from 2 days ago until right now that we can. This is the way content will do it. But yeah, it's a serious endeavor.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot to think about. That's for sure. Pagination and large data sets and transferring them around is always a pain in the butt, right? But yeah, so we're coming up. We got about 10 minutes left. I think, we made it. We did it. We made a plugin. That was really cool. I was actually happy we were able to do that within the time. We even went as far as talking about next steps. I'd like to spend, we have 12-ish minutes and a little bit longer too. I'm not in any particular rush. But I'd like to talk a little bit more about Orbit itself, the Orbit model, and just kind of anything that y'all want to share or bring up. It's kind of like the floor is yours right now. If there's anything you wanted to share, I know I have a couple questions and stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, thank you. One thing that we're working for and we're excited to run is the addition of Discourse as a platform, as a first-party integration to Orbit. That's actually what I'm at the moment. And you were speaking of of pagination and ring, etc. And that's my life right now.
Yeah.
So I know those things. But yeah, for many of Orbit users and just in general developer communities are on Discourse, and Discourse is a central platform for their discussions about new features, maybe for certain types of projects, and being able to platform into Orbit will be a great way for developer advocates and open source maintainers who have a Discourse platform to be able to see who is really active on Discourse. Maybe you discuss a feature on Discourse and then you implement it, or you raise an issue on the GitHub repo right after. So yeah, this is I'm really excited to be working on this, and I don't want to give a specific dates, but I'm hoping for the next few weeks that it will be up and ready to go.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
yeah, we're really
Yeah, really cool. And then correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't y'all also hiring?
We are. Thank you for throwing the subjects.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're looking. So today the team is fairly small with 3 persons. There's Josh, who's here in the Paris HQ with me, and he's the CDO, and Patrick, who's over at San Francisco, the CEO. And we're looking to grow both our tech team, so Josh and I, and our more broadly developer advocacy or community endeavors. So more specifically, we're looking for a senior a software engineer, and a lead software engineer to be working on our Ruby on Rails platform, plus all the other niceties.
Yeah.
The website is built, the orbit.love website is built with 11t and sanity.io, which it makes for a really good combo, and we use tons of really interesting tags for the Orbit app.
Yeah.
And we're also hiring on the community side a developer advocate, which is, I think it would make for a very interesting situation for a developer advocate, because you advocate for developer advocates. So it's like a developer advocate.
So meta.
So yeah, really interesting. And also a community advocate. So the 2 different roles would be maybe one that is more the developer advocate, one more leaning on the building integrations for Orbit, like pulling data from, I don't know, your Twitch or
Yeah.
specific Stack Overflow tags or what have you. I'm sure the space will evolve
Yep.
and we'll have a lot of different platforms and opportunities to seize in that space. And the community advocate side is more like, yeah, growing and making the Orbit community, which is a community in itself, grows and yeah, an amazing experience for its members.
Awesome. Yeah. So go work with Orbit so that you can work with me to use Orbit better.
That's one of the best part of the jobs. I will not lie.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. That's cool. That sounds very interesting and exciting. Yeah, cool. So thank you for sharing that with me. Anything else y'all got going on? I dropped Inception. I dropped the link to Orbit website in the chat. You can also find them on Twitter as Orbit Model, I believe. It's
Mhm.
yep.
Yeah.
Orbit Model, and then you can also find Nico on Twitter as Facts down there, Phackks, and you can find me as Kurt Kemple. And we'd love to talk more about things like DevRel and Orbit and all that fun stuff. I guess this seems like a pretty good wrapping up point. What do you think? You feeling pretty good?
I agree. Agree.
Yeah.
Well, so much, Kurt, for last, and yeah, I was very happy that we were able to and see it live. So yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Very
Thank you.
cool. Yeah, it was a pleasure to have you on. Love working with y'all. Glad that we could make this plug in or start it together. So that's very cool. And then, okay, yeah. So, yeah, we're going to head out. And thanks for all the follows that have rolled in over the last little bit. You all are appreciated. With that, I will give you all your days back and we'll say see you later. Bye, everyone.
See you, folks. Bye.